Okay, so it seems like recently there's been even more of a situation going on with Ironmouse, and it's very, very disappointing to see as this just continues to go on and on and on and on. Now, first of all, I would like to give a little bit of an update to the Spotify. Obviously, we did say that it did go back up, and Ironmouse was celebrating that alongside Shiro, who also produced it. But she hasn't actually made a post on it, but it does seem like the song is back down again. If you click on the song over on Spotify, you're unable to, click on it. It says content's not available. So I think it has been taken down once again, obviously due to copyright reasons or something like that. And it's someone targeting Ironmouse with this kind of copyright stuff. Now, we've been covering how Ironmouse has been harassed on the, many different platforms, especially over on places like TikTok and stuff, over many different things, including music and also, her face, which obviously has never been revealed. But many people claim that they have the reveal or claim that this is the person when they're actually kind of just attacking innocent women or girls that are obviously, just posting images of themselves online, which people are then using and saying, hey guys, look, this is Ironmouse, which again, obviously is pretty disgusting to see. But obviously it doesn't help whenever this was all pushed due to the fact of the Stream Awards clip with Ray and Rakai, which obviously, all started months ago. And since then, obviously the fan base has been going after Ironmouse and it just hasn't stopped, which obviously includes, the Spotify being attacked and people trying to, claim something was her face, right? And it seems like it's gotten even worse because recently there was this clip that came out from Yoxix, which essentially talked about, the new MrBeast challenge, which was coming out. Apparently he's doing a 1 million event for, I think, their viewers. So obviously they compete for their viewers. And yeah, you got like normal people like Kai Cenat, iShowSpeed, SQC, Pokimane, Valkyrie, Rubius, Tfue, Flight Reacts, Jinxie, like all of the top streamers in the space, including, obviously, if you go down, Ironmouse, who is right there. And obviously, yeah, a lot of people would have questions. I do understand why people would have questions in terms of this event, because Ironmouse can't leave her house, she has a condition, so it would be pretty hard for her to do something like this. But I think if you use your critical thinking skills, it's pretty easy to, kind of come up with some kind of theory on what would happen if she was to take part in this event. And my biggest, kind of guess would be she would have either someone, probably Connor, Sea-Dog, and, she would probably, Connor would bring her to the event and compete on her behalf, because obviously Connor is also a pretty big streamer as well in regards to a lot of these people. So I think it would make sense if those two were to kind of team up and, do the challenge together, because they got a similar kind of viewer base as well. Obviously they're competing for viewers, so, they pretty much have similar viewers. Obviously Ironmouse probably has a more VTuber orientated viewers as well, but obviously the crossover is quite big compared to a lot of other streamers, right? So I do think that it would be pretty fair if they just gave it to either one of Ironmouse's viewers, or maybe they gave half and half to each of their viewers, or whatever, just anything, right? Because again, I do think it can be possible, and obviously it's trying to include people like Ironmouse, which honestly I think is good for MrBeast, right? We've talked pretty bad about him during the whole VTuber thing that happened with the Minecraft event, right? But I do think, honestly, him trying to include people like Ironmouse, and he said, in the clip, because he actually made a clip with Jason the Ween talking about it, essentially saying that they were going to sort something out of Ironmouse, whatever it is, because Jason was like, oh, on the iPad or something, and he's like, yeah, we'll sort something out. So again, my guess would be, yeah, get like Sea-Dog or someone in there to go around and run around for her if there's like a physical challenge. But again, I don't know. I don't even know what the challenge is at the moment. They haven't really said what it is or what the event is. So again, it is pretty interesting. But obviously, this was the reaction that Rakai had to it whenever reading out this list. And as you guys know, obviously, a lot of the harassment has been coming from his audience and also Ray's audience. And yeah, let's just look at it.
Jinxie, Kwakli, Sinadriji, Nesha, Ironmouse. Agent, your rage.
So yeah, obviously, he pauses at Ironmouse's name and looks at the camera and then continues, right? And obviously that's him to be saying like, hey, because both of them have said ever since the Ironmouse incident that they didn't want anything to do with her or whatever. And again, he's tried to say like, oh, I'm not going to say anything about this or whatever. But at the same time, you know what fully well, what he is saying about it, right? You know fully well what he is implying by that pause, because again, it's a pause. Like he could have continued like all of the other people, but he decided to add that pause in there, which obviously makes this clip completely different. And yeah, I do think it is obviously, not great, because it will you know, prompt a lot of his fans to go over and continue to harass Ironmouse because he hasn't like publicly I guess denounced this behavior, right? He hasn't said, hey guys, can we stop doing this? You know, obviously it's affecting her music and stuff. He's, you know, almost actively encouraging people to continue harassing her because, again, you know, he does this kind of stuff where he takes these little digs at her or whatever, or you know, does this random pause, which obviously is just you guys know what, you know, what happened with Ironmouse and things like that. Like, again, it just makes people remember exactly what happened, and yeah, they continue to go ahead and go to our pages and continue to spread harassment. Now, I do think it is quite funny as well, because considering obviously Rakai's, you know, growth and things, a lot of his growth has been attributed to people like Kai Cenat, right? Who obviously he's interacted with quite a bit. And Kai Cenat actually had a previous incident with Ironmouse, which honestly I think Rakai needs to learn from, right? And obviously I know Rakai's young and, you know, he's only getting started, but I think he does need to be, you know, responsible for his actions still online if he is going to be creating online content. You can't just use this kind of argument of, oh, you know, he's only 17, he doesn't know anything. That doesn't mean he could do anything he wants online, right? It doesn't mean he can go and harass people just because he's 17. Like he needs to learn to kind of grow up a little bit and to actually, you know, understand that these kind of actions do have consequences and that these actions, you know, do hurt other people, because it does. But yeah, obviously he's interacted with Kai a lot, and Kai actually had a previous situation with Ironmouse, and previously obviously Ironmouse beat Kai Cenat's record for subs. I think Kai beat it again since his latest one, but yeah, after that happened, a ton of Kai's fans went over, harassed, including people from Ray and Rakai's community as well. They also, you know, kind of spurred this on, right? And that is why she was so afraid whenever that initial kind of interaction, you know, happened at the Stream Awards. And then after all of this happened, all of the hate and harassment that she got for, I think it was like a day or two or whatever, then Kai went onto stream and said, hey, let's not do this. This is uncool. Let's not, you know, attack her over this. She's done an incredible achievement or whatever, and actually, you know, told his chat to chill out, you know, because again, it is at the end of the day something stupid. Like obviously the thing with Kai was the subathon record being broken. It's stupid for these people to be getting so annoyed over and harassing her over to this end, and the same goes for Rakai as well. You know, I think it is stupid to be harassing Ironmouse to this end as well, for their community to be doing it, because again, they haven't just gone, oh, we dislike Ironmouse, or we dislike the interaction that she had with Ray and Rakai at the Stream Awards. They have gone, okay, we're going to go, you know, take down songs on our Spotify. We're going to upload this racist stuff instead of it. We're also going to, you know, obviously they made a ton of those TikToks making fun of her songs. Again, if you don't like her music, that's totally fine. Like, I can understand that, right? But again, obviously during those songs and a lot of those TikToks, they would have tons and tons of random women's faces included on there saying, this is Ironmouse, by the way, which obviously it very clearly wasn't. So again, obviously they're trying to, I guess, fake dox them. And this just isn't normal behavior. This isn't normal behavior. This isn't behavior that people should be like, oh yeah, this is okay. Yeah, look, leave Rakai alone. His community are doing a good thing. They're not doing a good thing. This is horrible. Like, you would never want this to happen to you. Imagine if this happened to you. You know, imagine if I was going around with thousands of alt accounts spreading people's faces and you were faceless and, you know, saying that this is you, by the way, and taking down all of your projects, some of your biggest projects that you've worked so hard on. Imagine if I was to take that all down. You know, what if I was to copyright strike that, say, no, that's mine, and replace it with some racist kind of material instead? You wouldn't like that, would you? And again, a lot of people lack the kind of critical thinking to, I guess, put themselves in Ironmouse's shoes with a lot of this harassment. With the same thing as, you know, because I made a tweet on this saying Ironmouse is still being harassed over the last situation with Rakai because his childish fans can't seem to hold themselves back from doing things like taking over our Spotify and using pictures of innocent girls claiming it's her. This dude never learns, because, again, that's what I've been saying throughout this video, right? And, you know, some people who are like, oh, you know, are you shaking from this, or she was shaking, which again I do think is, you know, crazy, right? I think that people still hung up about the shaking thing. People still hung up about Ironmouse to this day. It's been like a month, by the way, right? It's been like a month, and these people are still going after it. I honestly think they're more obsessed with VTubers than parasocial VTuber fans. Like, parasocial VTuber fans are pretty bad. But honestly, I think that a lot of these people from this fan base are more obsessed with Ironmouse than some of those fans, which I think is actually saying something, right? And yeah, many people still bring up the, oh, she was shaking thing. But again, I've never seen so many people get so butthurt over someone else's emotions, right? I've never seen someone else get so, you know, annoyed over the fact that someone felt one way, right? Like, it's not like Ironmouse did anything. It's not like she said, you know, she felt threatened. She said she felt uncomfortable. You know, everybody can feel uncomfortable with whatever they like. You know, you don't have to go and attack them or go after their Spotify or try to, you know, dox them or whatever just because you don't like that. Like, what? Like, it's so weird. And I don't see how a lot of people can just, you know, excuse this kind of behavior. And obviously a lot of people say, like, you know, Rakai is young and dude needs to learn more, which again, I do think is true. He needs to learn a lot more, and obviously he is young, but I don't think this kind of excuses the behavior. It doesn't matter how young you are on the internet. If you're sending harassment over to anybody, right? I don't think that should be allowed just because you're young, right? I think you should be told, hey, let's stop this. Let's sort this out and just continue doing the content you were doing, right? But again, obviously, people said, how's this harassment? He's generally confused how an iPad will compete in physical conditions. And again, these people completely misunderstood my point. I'm not saying that he's harassing her, by the way, in this clip, by the way. I'm not saying that he's harassing her. I just think, obviously, he's spurring on that behavior even further. Obviously, I say Ironmouse is still being harassed over the latest situation, over the last situation, right? I say over the last situation. These people can't read. They cannot read. I say Ironmouse is still being harassed over the last situation. Not this situation, the last one. And obviously these people are like, oh, but she's not even being harassed. It's like, yeah, because I didn't say that. Like, again, these are the people that are trying to argue these points. I don't know, right? But obviously people said, like, I have nothing against anime. I love it. But you making the anime community look terrible. We're talking about VTubers, not anime. Like, what? Like, dude, we're not even talking about anime here. Like, these are the kind of people, they don't understand VTubers. They don't understand what is going on. They can't even read to this point, and they're trying to make arguments in the comments. These are the kind of people that you know, a lot of people are arguing with at the moment. I think it's crazy. They cannot think. I don't know. It's insane. But yeah, obviously, I do think at the end of the day, I just hope that this doesn't continue. Like, again, I said that this is just a bit of behavior that I think is spurring on a lot of this behavior, but I do think at the end of the day, it's just one of these things where I hope that this isn't a recurring theme throughout his stream, right? To any time Ironmouse is mentioned to do this kind of stuff, because obviously it's going to prolong the harassment towards it. I think, you know, if he literally just kind of read their names off all normally and just kind of ignored the fact that Ironmouse was in there, then obviously that would be a much more mature, kind of better, I guess, way of handling things, right? Because again, obviously he said he doesn't want anything to do with Ironmouse and things, and that's okay, right? But, you know, also you can't just go and do that, right? And say you don't want anything to do with her, which I think is obviously pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, that is essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.